module duration is developed. The module duration can be from a half-day program to a day program or 2-day program, or it can be intervention which is periodic, and based on the objectives of the program, this duration needs to be validated in terms of an effectiveness. In training design, delivery options or different types of methodologies, training methodologies through which you will impart the training to the participants is also very important. We are going to cover that in detail in our program. There are so many delivery options which are relevant now. One very common delivery approach which is used nowadays is a PowerPoint driven training, but that is proving a bit of ineffective because there is a little allergic element of participants to be attentive to the PowerPoint presentation throughout the program. So nowadays there are different elements like you can have video module, you can have case studies, you can have role plays, you can have different exercises or activities, you can have management games, you can use of icebreakers. So there are different training methodologies needs to be embedded in the program design. Of course, these delivery methodologies are supposed to be relevant to the cash objectives. Training, one of the very most the ultimate important aspect of the training design is assessment and evaluation. Now, this cannot be thought of after designing or after executing the program. What is assessment and evaluation is basically based on the training objectives, that is what kind of knowledge is change is required, what kind of skills need to be embedded during the program or people need to be aware about, what kind of behavioral and attitudinal aspects which are addressed. Based on that, the evaluation pattern would vary from program to program. Now, while designing the program, this assessment and evaluation has to be configured. Now, generally very popular aspect of knowledge assessment is pre and post test, that you have pre-test based on the kind of contents or the program outline, what is the knowledge level of the participants, and you can also have post assessments questionnaire to assess the change in the knowledge. If you have to assess the knowledge, if you have to assess the skills, then there can be role plays, there can be presentations, there can be group work or group presentations. Such methods are used for assessing the skills, for looking at the impact of the training while designing the program. Now, here we would like to go to poll number 3, and we will request your input for that. Yes, for this poll, about 89% of the people, they are saying yes. Yeah, they do consider various factors for designing and delivering the training interventions, and about 11% of the people, they are saying that yeah, they do not see or do not use these kind of aspects while considering and designing the training program. Now, while designing the program, or ultimately when we track the effectiveness of the program, this responsibility has to be divided. The knowledge, attitude, and skill part is a kind of responsibility of either a trainer or a facilitator or a process owner. But then converting this knowledge and the skill like skill acquired during the program to the habit is a responsibility of the participant. Now, this has to be mapped and elaborated to the participants very clearly. So it's a dual responsibility. So if the training program is not effective, then somewhere there is a gap. So we need to see whether there is a knowledge assessments have done properly and the program was dealt with by the facilitator in terms of knowledge and the skill, and whether the participants have understood their responsibility in applying this training, the kind of takeaway, that is the knowledge and the skill part, into their work life or their day-to-day job affairs. Now we would move to the elements of training delivery. this is also very important when we design the program. Generally, it is advised that not to implement or not to deliver or conduct the program immediately. There is a process called piloting the program. Piloting the program is kind of a trial run of the program with the target audience. So this piloting the program, which gives basically the output in terms of how far this corrective, like is there or in terms of expectation, whether the objectives are set right, whether the training methodologies have been adopted correctly, whether the participants are absorbing the kind of knowledge and change which we want to address through the program, is something which will get relevant by administering the pilot program. So it is highly recommended that for any new training intervention or new program, a pilot program is a must. Now, another important aspect of training delivery, that before the training delivery, the facilitator or the program who is designing the program, the ref check has to be followed. And this is one of the key requirements, because if the facilitator is unknown to the organization, if the facilitator is unknown to the culture and the participants' profile of the organization, it would impact adversely after the program. So it's very important responsibility of a training facilitator or a coordinator or a training manager to check whether the facilitator has adequate credentials with respect to the delivery of the program. The third important aspect is suitability of the venue. Now, suitability of the venue, it means that the program design should be supported by the kind of venue which is required. Now, certain outbound programs has to be conducted outside the location of an organization or at the required venue, or certain programs which are possibly can be having a blended methodologies, like some programs which use a presentation or videos or certain kind of exercises which can be conducted in-house. So accordingly, the venue is selected. The important consideration for selecting the venue can always be a budget, but that also keeping the budget, I would say, guideline intact, you need to see the design part of the module which is relevant for or which can be which the program can be conducted at the venue. This venue and another aspect which is food and logistics, these are regarded as a hygiene aspect of the training delivery. They carry a lot of importance because the participants' well-being and participants' comfort is taken care of by these factors. So one needs to be very careful about how this program, when this program is being conducted, what is the venue, what are the food arrangements, whether the food arrangements are adequate, and whether the participants would like them, and whether it will support the program objectives. Another aspect of the training design and delivery may be the training support equipment. Training support equipment is basically right from the training infrastructure, like the training room, the training sitting arrangement, the projector, or maybe the whiteboard or the flip chart, whiteboard markers, audio system. All those training support equipments are vital for the success of the program. Many cases when we use activities and exercises, that material also need to be verified and checked before we execute the program. The next important thing for delivering the program is looking for or keeping the alternative options ready in case of eventualities. In many cases, there can be a power off, or there can be a different failure of the AC system, or there can be general emergency, etc. So keeping these things in mind, we have to keep whether the program schedule, how it can get impacted, and if it is so, then how we can take care of without affecting the delivery of the program. The last but very important aspect is the workbook and the assessment. The workbook is acting kind of a reference for the participants post-program, and workbook also need to be used while delivering or while conducting the program. And the training assessment execution is generally happened during the program, that is pre-assessment, or in between the program there are certain assessment and there are post-assessment. So keeping those assessments ready and keeping those maybe relevant Xerox copies or maybe training material for the assessments ready is very important while delivering the program. Now we'll go for the effectiveness evaluation, which is the ultimate aspect of a training, proving ROI to the training. Effectiveness evaluation is a continuous process. Now, if you see the slide, it shows that there are certain evaluations which needs to be done before the program, and there are certain evaluations which needs to be after the program. So the evaluations which are conducted before the program are called as a pre-program evaluations, and the evaluations which are generally conducted after the program, after conducting the program, is called as a post-program evaluations. The pre-program evaluations are generally ignored. They don't get considered while designing and developing the program. So the pre-program evaluations are such that whether the needs are identified correctly, because as we have discussed earlier, the needs are kind of a raw material or the input, and the quality of the raw material and the input determines ultimately quality of the output. So we need to be very sure about that why participants or why the employees require this training. What is that change which we would like to address through the training? Change in terms of the knowledge, change in terms of the skills, change in terms of behavior, and ultimately what kind of habits we want to develop as an effect of the training. So this assessment is generally done when the training needs are analyzed and training needs are shortlisted or prioritized, and then they get converted into the focus, which we have discussed earlier. The second aspect of evaluation is formative evaluation, that is the assessment of the design and the delivery. So this formative assessment is generally done when the program design is complete and we do the piloting of the program before actually implementing the program. So this will give you the effectiveness of the design and delivery in terms of whether the program will work for the participants, and it's basically designed correctly with respect to the cash objectives. So these two evaluations are called as a pre-program evaluations, and they are very, very important in terms of evaluating the overall impact of the program. Now we will go for the post-program evaluation. Post-program evaluation starts with reaction evaluation. The reaction evaluation is regarded as level 1 evaluation, and this is basically checking the response from the participants about the program. It means whether they have satisfied, whether they have liked the program in terms of delivery, in terms of facilitation, in terms of methodology, in terms of the inputs which are given to them with regards to knowledge and the skill. The method generally used by the organizations for this evaluation is feedback forms. So the feedback form has to be given to the participants immediately after the program is conducted. Many organizations do this later, but that is not the correct practice, because the response of the participants is fresh and it needs to be taken immediately after the program. Then there is a level 2 evaluation, which is called as a learning evaluation. Now, learning evaluation gets configured around the change in the knowledge or the change in the skill. This change in the knowledge and the change in the skill is to be regarded with respect to the learning inputs given into the program. Now, as we have discussed earlier, the knowledge change can be assessed by putting a kind of a pre-test or a post-test, and the differential between the post and the pre-test. For the skills, there are different options available which can be discussed in detail when we conduct the program on 25th. But this is responsibility of the training facilitator who is conducting the program. So level 2 is basically we are evaluating what they have learned. And first of all, did they learn at all? And if they have learned, then what is the change in the knowledge and what is the change in the skill? Many training managers and coordinators are expected to keep the facilitator responsible while they design the program for them. So if we insist, or if they insist that level 2 evaluation or the delta change in knowledge and delta change in skill has to be evaluated by facilitator, then facilitator will come out with the option to develop the questionnaire or develop the right instrument to calculate this change. The third aspect is a performance evaluation. The performance evaluation is called as level 3 evaluation. Now, this evaluation is basically checking whether the participants are able to use the knowledge or the skills they acquired during the program. And if they are able to use this skill, whether it is successfully implemented or successfully applied to the work at the workplace. Now, this performance evaluation is to be assessed or is to be done after 1 month of the program to latest by 3 months of the program, because this is the time required by the participants to use the knowledge and the skills which they receive in the program to apply on the job. And this evaluation is generally done by the immediate supervisor of a participant or immediate reporting boss of the participant. Now we'll go to the fourth evaluation of the training, that is impact evaluation. This is called as a level 4 and level 5 evaluation. This evaluation basically targeted towards what is the impact of the training, whether the participants have applied this on the job, and after application whether there is a change in terms of reducing the cycle time or improving the quality of the program, quality of the output, or there is a reduction in the cost, there is a reduction in the rejects. There can be certain different attributes based on what we have targeted the training program for are evaluated, and this impact evaluation is generally calculated after 1 year and generally linked to the financial cycle of an organization. Now, if we go from reaction level, that is level 1, level 2, level 3 and level 4 or level 5, generally the observation is such that the reaction level is, many organizations do that. So reaction level evaluation is generally done by 100% of the organization. Learning evaluation level 2 is about 60 to 70% programs or organizations do this. Level 3 is about 30%, and less than 30% of the organizations and the programs they qualify for level 3, and it's being used in the industry. And hardly like 5 to 10% of the programs or even organizations they go for impact evaluation. Now there are certain models available in for reference for using this evaluation techniques. Kirkpatrick model is regarded as most popular model for effectiveness evaluation, and we shall be discussing in detail this Kirkpatrick and effectiveness evaluation model in the program. Okay. Now I will leave the floor to the questions, and I'll be happy to address your questions if you have any.
So we have a question here. How theme-based behavioral training program will be evaluated at 3 and 4? How theme-based behavioral program will be evaluated at 3 and 4?
Behavioral training programs which are basically qualifies for the cash input in terms of attitude. Now, first thing we must realize that any training program which is contributed towards the behavioral change is very difficult to evaluate. We need to find out certain aspects which organization has to organization is targeting to change in terms of like there is an employee engagement, and one of the attribute which can be tracked through the team-based interventions. There are certain programs which are linked to the productivity also, but it's very difficult to measure. So it depends on the kind of a theme or the kind of objective of the program which is designed.
We have another question. So is it recommended to measure ROI for every program? If not, Then how do
Then
you
how do you
identify the
identify the
programs which
programs
are
which
worth
are
making
worth
ROI?
making ROI?
It is not recommended to measure ROI for all the programs. Now take a case of like induction program or kind of a base level programs. These are mandatory programs for any organizations to just do that. So for such programs, level one, that is participants feedback and participants maybe change in terms of level two, knowledge and the skill is good enough for evaluation. So as I said earlier, level one programs, all the programs to be evaluated on level one. If you reach 60 to 70% program for evaluating on level two, that is change in knowledge and the skill, that is a benchmark. For level three, about 30 to 35% programs, if you can evaluate on level 3, that is on the job behavior, should be good enough. And for level 4, at least 10 to 15% program needs to get qualified. These programs are basically change in technology, or there is a high investment which is made by the organizations in terms of training budget, or maybe training their high pods, or any kind of productivity linked training, or quality enhancement programs. These programs are easy to link to level 4.
We have another
We have
question.
another question.
Who will be
Who will
involved
be involved
in ROI
in
process,
ROI process,
and who will be
and who
taking
will
the
be taking
ownership
the
of it?
ownership of it?
The training is basically responsibility of the many stakeholders in the organization. So if we have to calculate, if we go to the ROI level, there are different stakeholders gets involved in the process. We will see from level 1 to level 4. Now level 1, that is taking the participants' feedback will be the responsibility of the coordinator of the program. Level 2 is the responsibility of the facilitator to prove or to show that there is a change in knowledge, or there is a change in the skill. Level 3, that is on the job behavior, is the responsibility of the reporting manager or the supervisor to give feedback to the process owner. And level 4, basically depending upon the cash objective and get it done, is the responsibility of the HR process owner or the training manager to link it to that. So there are different stakeholders at different levels. They are responsible for ultimately ROI of the program. Generally, the weightage attached to different level is level 1, that is participant feedback, about 25% weightage. Level 2, that is change in the knowledge and the skill, is 25%. Level 3, on the job change in behavior or the skills, 25%. And ROI, that is benefit of the training to the organization, is 25. So togetherly it amounts to 100% of the effectiveness.
So to continue, Swati is asking a question that what if the HR manager leaves the organization?
That's very difficult question, a typical question. If the HR manager is leaving in between, then it is his or her responsibility to hand over the process to the successor or the person who is taking over the process from him or her.
We have another question here. Can you help us understand with an example of a training program that qualifies for all the levels of post-program evaluation?
Yes, that's a good question. I will give an example of the trainer program. It gets qualified for all the 4 levels. Level 1, of course, everybody understands the feedback of the participants, whether they have liked the program and what they have liked about the program. Level 2 is basically a responsibility of the trainer, that is the change in terms of knowledge and the skills. Knowledge in terms of basically designing and delivering the program, and skill is basically actually able to make them conduct the program. Level 3, whether they have used this knowledge and the skill for delivering the in-house programs, and ultimately Level 4 is benefit to the organization because of the internal trainers, because of the trainers which are developed through this program. How far training budget is cutted, or how far training load is been reduced by the organization. So such kind of programs can get qualified for all the for of evaluation.
Thank you, Mr. Harendra. So with this, I would like to thank Mr. Harendra, and I hope the session had been valuable. We have one more question, so do we have time for it?
Please.
Yeah. So here we are we focusing on individual issues in this workshop? As I believe that I'm clear. One minute. Are we focusing on individual issues in this workshop? As I believe that I'm clearly fundamental, but finding difficult to implement in the current organization.
Yes, we can discuss the case individually, and we can of course help you to organize, or maybe give certain inputs to customize to suit your requirement, and that can be done during the program for sure.
Well, with this, I would like to thank all the participants. And before we close the session, I would like to have your feedback on the program. So here it goes. Also, we are having this detailed workshop on the effectiveness of training interventions from TNA to ROI. So it will be held on 25th of this month from 9:30 to 5:30 in Pune. So if you want any details of a registration, you can email us or you can call us. Thank you.